and the Curse of the Lake Monster was like a perfect movie. You could almost watch it as a standalone. But it doesn't stand alone. There's also Scooby Doo The Mystery Begins from 2009. This is a little bit like Cheaper by the Dozen was made so that Cheaper by the Dozen 2 could be made, because that movie is just great, fantastic. Baby Taylor Lautner. So that's kind of how it feels with this Scooby Doo movie. So we're going to talk about Scooby Doo The Mystery Begins. First, we've got Green Baby on the mic today, dressed as Daphne, the same A Girl's Girl on Etsy. A Girl's Workshop on Etsy made her outfit, so shout out to her. Maybe I'll show you Birdie's haircut at the end of the video. I'll try to remember. He got it cut today. He looks very handsome. Mr. Handsome is in the house. And I'm Bailey. And if you're watching this video, you're probably my friend and I sent it to you, so thank you very much for clicking on it. And if you're not my friend and I didn't send it to you, I'm also so glad you're here. Thank you for clicking on it. All right, let's jump into Scooby Doo The Mystery Begins, 2009. This one aired on Cartoon Network, and I remember seeing commercials for it. It must have been a rerun, because that was before my parents divorced. I don't know why I would have seen that. Whatever. We still enjoy it. It's just, maybe they did like a summer event. Maybe I watched the second one when it aired. That could be it. Like, I remember watching this one on TV. It's okay if you don't like this one. It's okay to say you don't like this one. The movie starts with Shaggy just barely making it to the bus in time, and he gets tripped by a football player. Clearly this happens a lot. He's trying to find a seat. He sits with Velma. She word vomits at him about her science project, and then he sits with Daphne, but then he eats a weird sandwich, so Daphne goes and sits next to Velma, but then Velma continues to word vomit at Daphne, so then she leaves and goes and sits by herself. But also, when Daphne went and sat by herself, why didn't Shaggy sit there? Shaggy gets tripped on his way off the bus, and then when he gets to the locker, he can't get it open. He comically falls into a trash can and slides all the way to the principal's office, where the principal essentially calls him a friendless loser and tells him that he should start collecting stamps until he makes friends. Also explains to Shaggy that his favorite thing to look for are misprints, because those are the most valuable stamps. This is a very Shaggy-centric movie. Then we cut to Scooby-Doo at an adoption fair, and he's weird, so nobody adopts him. And then they put him in a crate in a way that looks like animal abuse, and then his crate bounces off the back of a truck and pops open, and then he just kind of gets left. They just keep driving while he calls for them, so then he just kind of wanders around and ends up in a cemetery and sees ghosts come out of a grave, and it scares him, so he runs away and ends up in Shaggy's bedroom, which is in a basement, just by chance. But Shaggy was all alone, so he actually wasn't that upset about suddenly there being a dog in his house. Also, Shaggy doesn't understand Scooby's speech impediment, but he's very happy to have Scooby there, and we get Red Shirt Shaggy in their montage of them hanging out. The next day, Shaggy is not late for the bus because he is trying to sneak Scooby-Doo on. So then he gets the normal, tripped by his bully, and then Scooby sneaks under the seats to bite him, and then a fight breaks out. Velma and Daphne get involved. The assistant principal's car is damaged, so they all get detention. But for some reason, the bully who tripped Shaggy and also Scooby-Doo don't get detention. Then we see them in detention, and it's Brunette Fred, and he said that he was just trying to help. Fred secretly has been here the whole time, but nobody actually said his name to him, and he's Brunette? So he's slipped completely under the radar. He's been here the whole time. You missed him because it's Brunette Fred. Everybody except for Shaggy is upset about being in detention for their various Breakfast Club reasons. This whole thing feels very Breakfast Club. They are not allowed to talk, text, or eat, just read. The librarian is kind of sassy. Oh, the janitor said he never wanted to be a janitor and he hates his job. And the librarian doesn't like kids. Shaggy notices that everybody else is reading a mystery book, and he tries to connect with them, but nobody's really into it. Fred tries to flirt with Daphne by apologizing to her, and then Velma calls him out for only apologizing to the hot chick. Daphne and Velma stand up for Shaggy and tell Fred that his friends suck and he's not doing enough to stand up to them. Good for them. But then Fred feels singled out, so he spoils the end of Daphne's book, and now Velma's also mad because that was the book she was going to read next. Scooby is tied to, I think, the bike rack outside and sees a storm coming, so he buries himself in the ground, and the school gets like weirdly cold and dark and windy. The big book drops from nowhere, and the ghosts from earlier fly out of it. Cut to the pep rally, not relevant to the plot, but the band still needs their music in front of them. Lame. The Scooby Gang runs out when the football team was supposed to run in, and then the ghosts appear and kind of wreak havoc. And for some reason, the gang is blamed. And now they are suspended. Shaggy, in that moment, realizes that Scooby was not saying roasts, he was saying ghosts, and introduces his friends to his dog. Scooby-Doo leads them to the graves that he saw the ghost coming out of, and Velma recognizes this part of the cemetery because it's from when Lake Erie flooded the town and a lot of people died. They have to road trip to Lake Erie in the next one, so this is a little inconsistency. They like Lake Erie. They forget if they live on it or not. There was a school there that was destroyed in the flood, and the school they attend was built on top of it, and Velma recognizes the names on the headstones that Scooby pointed out, but she's not quite sure where. And then they realized there were 3 ghosts at the pep rally, but only 2 graves. They've decided that they're going to figure out what's going on so they can clear their names. So they're going to meet up tomorrow, but they're trying to hide their suspension from their parents. Pretty sure they get a call or email, even in 2009 when you get suspended, but what do I know? So they decide to meet at Shaggy's because they already have his bedroom set built, and also because both of his parents work. We at least see his mom's feet while she's like doting on him, but I'm like sad for Shaggy. So he has no friends. He's alone in his room in the basement every night. His parents are gone. This is sad for Shaggy. I'm glad he has Scooby. Everybody's awkward when they get to Shaggy's house. He made proto-Scooby snacks and offers them to Fred and Daphne, and they're grossed out by the fact that he used dog kibble, but they try to be nice. Scooby eats them all. Velma arrives. She did the research. She figured out where she recognized the names. The graves were the people who founded Coolsville Academy before it was destroyed in the flood, and they died in the flood. But before they died, they buried a time capsule. They decide that what they need to do is go back to the school to investigate, so they sneak in at night. They are getting to know each other and figuring out their dynamic. So there's a lot of like one person acting weird while everybody else reacts. Like Velma runs in a zigzag, and Shaggy eats dog kibble. Daphne and Fred are more normal. Fred tries to take charge and tell the group to split up, and everybody's immediately like, who died and made you king? You're not telling me what to do. So then they decide to just go in one group. Also, Velma, I know what you are.
You just wanted to go with the hottie.
I did not.
The ghosts are told to figure out what the kids are up to and get rid of them, so they possess mannequins wearing ancient-looking football uniforms. The pep rally mess was left behind, so I guess the janitor really does hate his job. Velma finds goo where the ghost disappeared. We get a chase scene. Fred takes on one of the football ghosts by himself to give everybody else a chance to escape. Daphne and Velma end up in like the theater department, and they hide in a 2-person horse costume to bamboozle a ghost and see one of the ghosts from the pep rally there and realize it's just a costume. Fred uses a hook on a rope to escape and says it's for gymnastics. It must be men's gymnastics. I don't know. But on his way out says, yeah, that's how a cougar does it. Scooby and Shaggy get locked in the freezer, and everybody escapes while we get a very Wizard of Oz burning. And then the next day, the school is super vandalized. Also, Daphne's a strawberry blonde now. Her hair looks way lighter, and they tell each other their last names. Velma discovered that the goo was magnesium chlorate, which can be used to make smoke screens. Why would a ghost need a smoke screen? Probably it's not a real ghost. Fred connects the dots that the rope thing, the safety rig that he used to escape, could be used to make it look like you're flying. Also, that's clearly a theater costume. All signs are pointing to it's not a ghost. They realize that they didn't see Scooby or Shaggy leave, and they're kind of wondering what happened to them. And when they get there, they find out that they were locked in the freezer, and the vice principal found them. Also, the ghost ate all the ice cream. Guess who's blamed? Guess who's expelled now? So the gang decides that they're going to figure out who's behind all this so they can clear their names. Shaggy remembers the janitor and the librarian being kind of shady, so now they need to figure out a way to sneak into the school, so Daphne gives them disguises, and this feels very Breakfast Club again. This is actually very good Shaggy and Fred writing, which is that Fred is trying to talk to Shaggy about games. This comes up a lot, where Fred will bring up, like, did you watch the game to Shaggy? We see this all the time, and Shaggy will say no, and then they just kind of awkwardly sit there. But this one was done well. Fred asked Shaggy about football or whatever, and Shaggy says the only sport he follows is Major League Eating. And Fred hasn't heard of it, and then Shaggy kind of describes it to him, and Fred's like, yeah, okay, like, I would watch that with you. That is real Fred. That is, like, he will, if you call it a sport, he'll take an interest in it, but also because the people he wants to be around are interested in it. This is good Fred. This is a good Fred and Shaggy interaction. Good job. The boys all react to Daphne's makeover of Velma. She did a good job. I don't like that Scooby thinks she's hot. That's gross and weird.
You can say that again, Scoob.
Check out the disguises. They are great. I love every single one of them. Even the trash cans. Their attempt to get past the vice principal is honestly a little bit crazy, and somehow Velma's the craziest one. The janitor wants to be a dancer, and they see him filming a cringe dance. The librarian got a job offer at a college. Yay, she's out of here. She gets to go be in higher education. Good for her. There's probably a good pay increase too. But she catches Velma, and Velma's not in an area that students are allowed, so Velma pretends that she is a Russian exchange student and then speaks Russian with the librarian. I have a hard time believing that Velma doesn't already have an existing relationship with the librarian, but considering how much she likes research and learning and reading mystery books. They would know each other. And I think that the librarian would be able to recognize her even in a wig. Velma found that there was a 3-volume book about ghosts, the supernatural, and the third one was how to raise the dead, and the last person to check it out was the vice principal. So they want to sneak into his house to get the book to figure out how to put the dead back. However, the vice principal lives on top of Coolsville Mountain. There's not mountains by the area. And they say it's too far to bike. And they're all kind of like, well, shit, nobody has their license. And then Shaggy admits that he does, and he was held back 2 grades. I'm sad for Shaggy. People need to take a closer look at his academics and help him out. Maybe this friendship with Velma and everybody else will be a good thing. They don't have a car. Shaggy has a license, but they don't have a car. But then Daphne says that there's a car lined up for when she's 16 that's already at her house. So then they're like, okay, we'll go get that car. I'll see you guys later. And the ghosts were spying on them. The car is a shit-ass van without a cool paint job. Just a big clunky van, and Shaggy is an incredibly nervous driver. And there's a moment where Fred opens the door to get into the front seat, but Scooby Doo jumps in and he kind of sighs and goes in the back. I am counting this as Scooby cock-blocking Shaggy. He cock-blocks Shaggy all the time. There's a line when they're driving where they say to Shaggy, the state of Ohio issued you a license. Confirmation they live in Ohio, which at first thought is weird. Why would it be Ohio? But then you think a little bit harder. I don't really know where else I would picture Coolsville. I don't know. Comment where you think it would be. Daphne and Velma talk about how neither is who the other was expecting. Fred asks about him and they say that he is pretty much what they were expecting, but nicer. And then they admit they haven't figured Shaggy out yet. Sad for Shaggy. They get to the vice principal's house. The lights are all off, so either he's not home or he's asleep. His house is full of small World War II models. Fred asks for consent before telling the group to split up, but they agree that they should split up. He goes upstairs with the girls. Shaggy goes downstairs with the dog. Shaggy has a Scooby-Doo fart to test out a gas mask. Love that. While Daphne reads the titles of books that the vice principal owns, Fred found the alcohol. Good for him. The ghosts attack Shaggy and Scooby by possessing the little planes and tanks and boat models. Velma finds the book. They all leave. The third ghost appears and sprays them with a green gas to knock them all out. They come to in the gym next to a ginormous pit with no memory of what happened. I'm scared for them. The ghost tells them to find the time capsule or they'll never see Scooby-Doo or the vice principal ever again. They are both tied up in dog crates, so I guess it wasn't the vice principal now, was it? Shaggy jumps in because he loves Scooby. He wants to save him. The rest go with him. They have also become fond of him. There's a snake down there. I've been to Ohio a bunch of times. There's no snakes like that in Ohio, especially underground. I'm choosing to believe the ghost put it there to scare them. They're doing a lot of guessing because the time capsule was never buried. They don't know where it is. Fred saves Velma from a falling wall. This is a nice moment. It doesn't make me ship it. I think that they have like solidarity because they both have ridiculous partners. Velma and Daphne and Fred and Shaggy. So Velma and Fred bond about how weird Daphne and Shaggy are. They lure the ghost down so they can catch him, and then they find the time capsule on accident during that. Scooby escapes. They're like running and trying to find a spell in the book to get rid of the ghost, and then Shaggy steps on Velma's glasses, so now he's the one who has to read it. Guys, he has been held back so many times. When you guys were reading in the library, he said he was just going to pretend he was in class and then took a nap. I don't think he's who you want reading this book. But then he reads the wrong spell and even more ghosts come out, and we get very much Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. They try a different spell. It works this time. They catch the ghost. It was the principal. He wanted the time capsule because there was a stamp on the letter in the time capsule that was a misprint and would have been worth the most money ever. The Scooby Gang is publicly forgiven and thanked. Velma has never looked gayer. They actually bury the time capsule now. Everybody liked being part of a group and also solving mysteries instead of just reading about them. So they decide to stay a group that solves mysteries. And then we get a little montage where they paint the mystery machine and recreate scenes from the original Scooby Doo intro and also some bits from What's New Scooby Doo while What's New Scooby Doo plays. A wonderful ending to a movie. Okay, so my thoughts. I do think that it is believable for how the Scooby Gang would get to know each other. I think there'd be a lot of bumps. I think, like I said, they're a weird group of kids. They really match each other's freak, but it takes a while for them to understand each other. And I don't actually have a problem with that. And like with them kind of shit, like I know their relationship comes up a lot. Like with Shaggy and Velma in the second one, Fred and Velma in this one, Fred and Daphne in the second one. Velma will sometimes hint to liking Fred in this one, and Daphne gets jealous. I think all of this is like incredibly normal for them getting to know each other. Also, they're teens. Like, if Shaggy was held back twice and is 16, that makes them 14. I would believe, like, because it's hard to imagine Velma having feelings for a man. Maybe she hasn't discovered that about herself. Maybe she's doing comp het. Maybe she's looking at Daphne and is like, okay, so Fred plays football, so he's the kind of guy that we're supposed to be into. So if I just say I'm into him, then nobody will know I'm gay. If I pretend to be interested in the man that the girl I'm interested is interested in, nobody will ever know. We know, I see you. There's good jokes. There are good jokes in this movie, but I don't think it is a very strong movie. The dynamics, I like the dynamics, even if they're not solidified yet. I like that they're all just kind of patient with each other. Scooby is once again not super important to the plot, but he's an animated dog. How much of the budget can go to that? Especially when they're doing pyrotechnics. So I think, yeah, this movie just had to be made so that Lake Monster could be made. I actually enjoy Lake Monster a lot. This one, it's okay. You can skip it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, this was really just a summary video. Whatever. Please like, please subscribe, please send to a friend. Please follow me on TikTok at BLYHDGN. Please donate to your local PBS station so that things stay free for people who can't afford to donate to your local PBS station. There's so much education and knowledge that goes out. Maybe follow PBS on TikTok. There's just a lot of criticism of the current administration that is getting taken off of there because of the FCC, and it's deplorable and it's disgusting. And if you're not going to donate to PBS, donate to mutual aid. I did want to end on a fun note, but I am having a hard time having fun when every day I see the news coming out of my own country. So I guess donate to PBS, carry a whistle, let your neighbors know when they're there. If I don't think I have international viewers, but I don't know. They always say to vote, but there's not an election right now, is there? I hope things get better soon. So I think I'm going to keep, even though I feel like I've been on edge a lot lately, I'm going to keep making these stupid videos talking about stupid movies to try to have something fun when you open the internet. So sorry to be a downer. I don't know. It's hard to talk about these things. So maybe holding my green ass doll, I don't know. I'll see you in the next video. Maybe I won't be a downer in that one. Bye. Forgot that I told you I would show you Brody's haircut. Come here. Doesn't he look handsome? Oh, he doesn't want... Oh, so short. Show them your haircut. Brody, look at the camera. We're just showing everybody your tummy. Tell him he looks handsome. Tell him you like his haircut. Okay. Bye.